So yeah, I'm Phil Alwitt, and went to school to be an industrial designer, and most of my career I've been doing product development, owning some small businesses, product management, and a variety of things in a variety of industries. So. Define industrial design. Industrial design is designing stuff for users. So for users and manufacturable stuff to be used, and that's sort of the crux of it. If it doesn't function, forget about it. If it can't be manufactured, forget about it. So, I spent a good part of this week conducting brainstorming sessions with a bunch of engineers. I was facilitating them. So, creating comes in all forms and fashions. You might just dream. And you might go through facilitated brainstorming sessions and come up with ideas. So there is no one process. Depends what you're working on, when you're working on it, how you slept that night, all kinds of things. So there are all kinds of factors. Who else is involved in the team? And you have to adapt to what you're doing at that time. And there were 5 different products this week in one company that I was working on. Every brainstorming session was different. They all took a different tone. I started in mechanical engineering for a couple of years, and I went into industrial design just because it seemed that it would be more appealing to me, a little more creative is what I thought at the time. I've always been very entrepreneurial, so soon out of college I just started my own business. So I didn't really pursue industrial design in the formal sense for very long, only for about a year. But I've always been involved in the design world. I always either created things, worked with other creatives in a way that, design has always been part of my life. Yeah, I mean, the first business that I started were neoprene camera bags, camera cases. It was back in around 1990. And at that point, I was an intern. I was an intern at Nike for a summer. I came back, bought a camera, and had an old wetsuit, chopped it up, and made this case. And that was the beginning of a product that I ended up building a business around and eventually selling about 7 years later. That came out of a personal need. So it's not that I saw a need for that someone else had. It's not that someone said, hey, we've got to figure something out for this. It was that I had a camera, I needed to protect it, so I did. And it evolved, people liked it, they commented on it, and then I aggressively pursued how to get it out there, how to manufacture it, how to market it, how to sell it. It was obvious that this one product could stretch, so I could put on the different lenses, and I could have one case that fit all my lenses, all my camera bodies. And that was the big innovation of the time, is that at that time, all camera cases were leather. They just fit right around the camera. They're leather, they're custom made to each different camera and lens configuration. So having one case that enabled users to fit all their equipment was huge. It was a big innovation. Camera stores loved it because they didn't have to stock all these cases. They could stock one style case and it fits everything. So it helped them out as well. So there was a lot of innovation, but it was sparked by just my own personal need, understanding this as I went along. There were a number of really creative people there. There's one guy called Bruce. His name is Bruce Kilgore, and I don't know if he's still there. I would doubt it. He ran the APE group, which was the Advanced Product Engineering group. And so I worked in his group, and it was great. He was a very creative guy and had a lot of influence over Nike products at the time. Another gentleman was Tinker Hatfield, and he had a whole different approach to the way he created products. But those two guys were responsible for most of the Nike successes at that time. And I don't know where they're at now, I have no idea. But they both influenced me significantly. Tinker was very loose in his design methods and drawing style, and I emulated his style for many years after that, his drawing and writing. And Bruce was more technically oriented, and also it was a great influence. Form follows function. One thing that drives me crazy is going into these anywhere, whether it's a design firm or anywhere, and it's just a bunch of beautiful pictures that don't work. It drives me nuts. So yeah, if you're going to design for production, make it work. You could always make it beautiful. So I've been in the solar industry for a good part of the last 10 years, and being in the solar industry, you feel good about what you do. It's an environmental business. My industrial design background plays heavily into that, as well as an entrepreneurial background. So, I am, in terms of what I do, it's my own personal, I've always been environmentally conscious. It has nothing to do with industrial design, but you can always make whatever you do for your career blend with your personal interests, and that's what I've done. Always look at the objective. I remember there was one project in industrial design school. It was a model making class, and the instructor said, "Okay, I want you guys to make a soap dish." So, everyone and vacuum form it. So everyone created these, little dishes with a divot on top, and there were different forms and things. And all I did was create this egg-shaped vacuum form 2 halves, and created it together. It looked like a bird, and welded the plastic down, and it was a sculpture. And people said, "Well, that's not a soap dish." I said, "Well, sure. I mean, you could always put the soap in its mouth." I said, "But it's not really a soap dish." I said, "Yeah, but the objective of the course was to learn how to vacuum form. It wasn't to learn how to make a soap dish." So always know your objective. It's a lot more popular now than it was back then. There are a lot more opportunities. Follow your passion. By being in an industrial design program, you're already, doing something that you love. Most people don't just fall into it. So keep following your passion. Yeah.